We begin in Arizona, where our Zohreen Shah is watching races for governor and Senate especially closely. Zohreen, I know you were at a rally last night for the Republican gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake, and she raised doubts about the integrity of the election. As she has many times before, she's running against Democrat Secretary of State Katie Hobbs, who oversees the state's election process. So it seems election integrity has been particularly central to this race.
It has been central in this race, Diane. I mean, you have Whit Johnson, our anchor, who said it perfectly. He said they are trying to scare the votes out of people here. I mean, the ads have been relentless, back to back. You have Kari Lake, you're right, we went to her rally last night. I mean, she has called Biden illegitimate. She is saying that she will only accept the results if they are, quote, fair. I mean, this is red meat for her base. And you have Hobbs, meanwhile, her opponent, who is saying that democracy is at the centerpiece of what she is fighting for. She says it's a choice between sanity and chaos. We walked into her headquarters yesterday. You have voters there who are saying the #1 issue for them is democracy. We typically don't think about democracy as an issue. We take it for granted often in this country, but that is what they're saying that their #1 issue is. And right now we're in front of the recorder's office. I was right here 2 years ago. And speaking of election security, this entire space is barricaded off. It's like a fortress. We had hundreds of protesters inside of this space last time around for days. You can't even get anywhere close. It just shows to the shift in the elections that have taken place, especially right here in this purple state.
Now, Democratic Senator Mark Kelly is facing a closer than expected race against Republican Blake Masters. So what are their closing messages to voters?
It's interesting. I'm going to tell you where they're campaigning today, and then I'm going to tell you who they're campaigning with and see if you can pull anything from that. So Mark Kelly is going to be in Tucson. He's going to be campaigning with no other Democrats there, at least no other major Democrats. And then you have Blake Masters, who's going to be campaigning with the entire slate of Republicans tonight. It's a campaign event called Cowboys and Conservatives. There's a sense of unity amongst the Republicans here. And when you look at Mark Kelly, he has not campaigned with the president, with President Biden. He has campaigned with FLOTUS and with Obama, but he's really distancing himself from the president, who, of course, has low poll ratings. And this is it's going to be a very tight race. It's, of course, a purple state. And it's a sign that he wants to distance himself from the current leader.
So the Phoenix metro area has the highest inflation rate in the whole country. How has that played a role into this election?
And you have Mark Kelly talking about that very thing. I mean, he's, of course, a Democrat, but he's talking about inflation, that 13% inflation right here in Phoenix. He's talking about gas prices, housing, the cost of groceries in this state. I mean, the voters here in this state, they really feel like that middle-class dream is slipping through their fingers, that this is a big issue for them. And so inflation is playing a big role. Mark Kelly is not shying away from that. He's also going hard on other issues like the border. He's calling the border crisis a mess. He says Washington has failed people in Arizona when it comes to those issues. And so those issues are really front and center right here in this election.
Zohreen, also for years, Arizonans have voted by mail in large numbers, and these races for governor and senate are so tight. So when are we going to actually know who won?
Diane, that's a good question. I wish I knew the answer to that. Look, it's probably going to be a minute. A lot of people in Arizona like voting early. But people who are going to turn in their ballots today, those likely will not be counted until tomorrow. So it's going to take a second. And we spoke to Hobbs yesterday. She said, look, we'll have the bulk of the votes counted by Friday or Saturday. She expects we'll have a good idea of what the election results will be by tomorrow. So we might not get those results in by tonight. And of course, this is a state where the votes are going to be really close. It's going to be razor thin margins. And then you have a lot of initiatives on the ballot this year. 10 initiatives. There's a lot of things for people to vote for. A lot of those ballots might be coming in pretty late. Diane.
All right, Zohreen Shah from Phoenix. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.